switching gears just a little bit, you abstained on the big Coke compensation vote. Can you just
True.
talk about your rationale for that?
Well, I just didn't approve of the size of the plan that was being proposed, which was 500 million shares to be used over 4 years. Now, they had a system of equating non-option shares on a 5-for-1 basis. So the 500 million might be more properly thought of as 340 million, but nevertheless, it seemed very large to me, compared to what I think is right, and also compared to what had been done in the past. In 2002, they authorized 240 million shares, and that lasted 6 years. And then in 2008, 6 years later, they authorized 280 million shares. That lasted 6 years, and then this either 340 or 500 million shares came along for 4 years, and I thought that was excessive.
Is there a reason that you weren't more vocal about that?
Well, I love the Coca-Cola company. I love the management, the directors. I mean, I think very highly of them. I'm not the least bit interested in carrying on a campaign against them, but as an owner, I was being asked to vote on a plan, and I did not think the plan was an appropriate plan.
Did you speak privately with Mukhtar Khan or any of the other?
After the plan came out, I hadn't voiced anything to him earlier because I hadn't known about it for one. But afterwards, I would not have voted to abstain without telling him ahead of time what I was going to do.
Looking at another stock in your portfolio, IBM, they had a tough first quarter. You're sticking with them. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, it wasn't that tough. I mean, they had said the earnings were going to be about 250. They had said they were going to have close to $1 billion charge for basically layoffs. And they pretty much accurately 3 months ago laid out what was likely to happen. I think currency neutral revenues were down 2%, and their hardware section is a real drag presently. But they've said that right along. So it was not what they reported was not a surprise to me.
You said their hardware division's a drag. Do you think they'll be able to shift sort of into this new cloud computing space?
Well, there's a huge shift going to cloud, and that I think that is going to affect everybody in tech, and I don't think it's necessarily easy to figure out the effect it's going to have. But that's going on, and we will see what effect it has. I mean, IBM is moving into it, obviously, but so are a lot of other people. So that's a fight that's not over with yet.
Interesting. Would you look to delve into that? I mean, is that somewhere you'd like to invest?
Would I do what now?
Would you look to delve into the cloud sort of computing sector?
That's not. No, I'm in it indirectly through IBM, but that's not a game I feel I bring anything to.
So looking at the markets, equities had a turbulent month, but they're back pretty much at all-time highs. I mean, do you see value out there still?
Yeah, I think I'm perfectly happy with. We own over $100 billion worth of equities, and I'm happy with them. So I have no feeling we should be selling any of the $100 billion plus we have in equities.
Are there any sectors where you see a particularly high amount of value right now? I mean, is there?
If there were, I wouldn't be talking about them probably. No, I won't get into specific stocks or businesses.
Lately, activist investing is taking on a whole new role. You have Bill Ackman out there, you have Carl Icahn. They're all talking up their books. They're lobbying. Is this something that's helpful for long-term investors?
Well, you don't have to worry about it as an investor. If you own an investor, I mean, I have a farm. I don't care what there may be some activist farmers for all I know. I guess there is one out in Nevada. The guy doesn't want to pay his grazing fees, but it doesn't make any difference. It's what the farm produces that counts. If I own an apartment house, it's what the apartment house produces. So if I own stocks, I own parts of businesses. What I'm concerned about is how those businesses do over time, and I don't pay any. I pay attention to the markets if I think prices are getting interesting to buy or something of the sort. But it doesn't make any difference to me whether the stocks we own go up or down tomorrow, or whether some guy is talking about getting active in them or something of the sort.
Interesting. And do you think that increases shareholder value? I mean, if it could.
What increases shareholder value is businesses earning better returns on capital in the future. Just pretend there is no stock market. What increases the value of American capital employed in business? It's earning good returns on capital. I mean, and that's what business is about. And prices can move up and down on given stocks, but what really counts is what business produces over time. And sometimes people lose sight of that in investing.
Interesting. Just one final question for you. There's been talk recently from a bunch of high-profile people that there's a bubble brewing in certain parts of the tech world. Is that something you see?
Well, I don't see it, but I would see it if it was a really big bubble. I mean, I certainly saw it in the late 1990s, that people were going a little crazy. They were buying things they didn't understand at all, and that maybe we're never going to do anything. We don't have that situation now. We do not have a big bubble market. I don't know about a given stock, A or B, but we are not in a bubble mentality in the stock market at present. We could get there, and we will get there someday.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to speak with us. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.